Watch this. He's just going to admit it.
No acknowledgement because the tethers say so. And if somebody does acknowledge you, the tethers can just make a phone call, and then now your show is gone. So how are y'all ever gonna get a legislation? Because if we can do that at the
If we, first he was saying the tethers, then he's like, if we can do that,
news level, why can't we do that to a politician and say, "Hey, politician, don't deal with FBA. It's a hate code."
you would do that when it comes to legislation for a lineage that descends from slavery. And you wonder why you're called tethers. And you wonder why we talk about how people, how people who are not foundational black Americans, aka ADOS, in terms of lineage, are imported Sambo. And that's problematic. They just gave it away. Now, AI, you could ask AI, hey, what is FBA? Descendants of slavery. You ask anybody who goes by FBA, practically, say 90+% that goes by it, or, and even people like me that I don't go by it, they'll tell you it's descendants of slavery. I don't mind it so much. They'll tell you what it means. You go to the FBA website. It's what it means. But if you can have a bunch of people, or maybe it was just Haven, I don't know, he said we, that call up and say that it's a hate cult, and would do that if we're talking legislation on the books, for whatever, however you might feel about descendants of slavery. You know, maybe Haven is racist or whatever, however you might feel about it. You're going into far right wing territory. Like, that's where you're at. And these are people who, like, Haven is like a Democratic Sambo, but who else but the most racist people? And that's who else. That's who else. And I've said this, I said it before, I'll say it again, that most black people who are racist are not racist against white people. It's either blacks or Mexicans. Maybe not Mexicans, I don't know. But this is like a perfect example. Because a hate group, the only time anybody's ever been punched over whether or not they're American descendants of slavery was that one Pan-African dude with the dashiki who punched an African immigrant after calling him ADOS. That was in 2019. Because the African immigrant, no, he called the African immigrant ADOS. Or thought that's where, no, yeah, that's what he said. He said he was assaulted by some ADOS person. And then he apologized to the African immigrant, but didn't apologize to the lineage, because there was no foundation at that time. So that's what I mean. There's some psychological nonsense going on here, and it's not funny.